good evening. Welcome to Pastoral Homestead. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I am out here on the old brown boat trying to get it ready to, going to end up selling it. I think we're going to sell this boat and completely restore the other one and use that for our fishing boat. So a little bit of change from last time because I was going to sell the motor of the 200 motor on the other boat, and I don't think I'm going to mess with it. So I think I'm just going to get this one back to where it needs to be and sell this booger and make a couple thousand on it, I hope, and put that money into the older boat, or excuse me, the longer boat, and we'll go from there. So hope you stick around for that. I had a couple of people this past week and weekend talk to me a little bit about my videos and what I've been doing on the water, which is I try to be as transparent as possible. And so when I go to a certain lake, I try to give where I'm at. I try to give what time of the year it is, water temperature. I don't always do that. I mean, I just started, so I don't know if I adequately give information for you guys, if I give enough. But I also try to give you what part of the lake I'm at and what I'm using to catch fish with. And so there's been a debate whether or not I should be telling people where I am, that I should be showing them what I'm using. And the argument is there's a lot of people who watch maybe my channel or other people's channel in New Mexico or wherever you are. And the argument is, well, now they'll know how to catch these fish, and a lot of people catch fish to keep fish. As sportsmen, I throw everything that I catch back, minus a walleye or something, but I'll get to that in a minute. So first and foremost, should there be any kind of trepidation when we're making videos to disclose location, what time of year, conditions, and also what we're using to catch fish or not catch fish for that matter? Or should we just try to make entertaining fishing videos? So that's kind of question number one. Something else that came out of all that is, well, what's the standard on keeping fish? They're in there for a reason, and the reason isn't just it's not just for sportsmen. So the fish are in there, multi-species fish are in there, so people can enjoy the lake. That's the whole point. And then not only that, but why was the lake put in to begin with? Most lakes are put in to begin with for water sources and power, so hydropower in certain areas. So fishing really, on the scale of importance, is way down the list. The main reason they're put in is for economical reasons, so to provide water, to provide power, and the resources that are garnered off of those bodies of water outside of that are really just kind of icing on the cake. They're not the main goal of the lake. So that begs the question, should we be griping about other people catching our fish on our reservoir in our spot simply because we don't want the resource depleted? There's a prime example at Elephant Butte Lake, which is just south of Albuquerque. It's the largest lake in New Mexico, and they were having a really hard time getting the bass population up. And part of the reason is that anyone who fished off of the shore, it seemed like, they would catch a bass and they would keep it to eat it, and so they steadily saw their numbers declining. And so the private citizens of that little town around that lake, knowing that fishermen provided economic incentive to make sure that had bass in the water, all pitched in, had a big campaign fund, and tried to raise enough money to stock the lake with 120,000 fingerlings. So not little baby bass, but pretty good size, 5-inch or so bass. I think that's a great project. Should the state have been doing that? Again, the reason they dammed up the river in the first place had nothing to do with fishing, had nothing to do with pleasure boating. It had everything to do with economics and making sure that the people of that community and further south had irrigation water and had drinking water. Where do we fall in line as fishermen? Okay, that's kind of one subsect. The other one is, shouldn't we, as people who enjoy the sport of fishing, want to spread that joy to other people? Granted, other states are different than New Mexico, but the fishing population, as far as sport fishing population, is not a huge group of people. We're a pretty small, close-knit group. Shouldn't we try to be branching out and exploring other options and ways to get other people involved? Yes, most people who go on the weekend to catch fish to eat are not going to be sports fishermen like we are. However, shouldn't we try everything we have in our little bag of tricks to get those people to come up to that level, to be sports fishermen, to try to take some ownership of these bodies of waters, to be true conservationists and not just people who go down to the lake and enjoy it because the government provides it for them. I'm not going to get political here. That's not the point. The point is, if we want our point of view to be deposited on somebody else, we have to be the ones to put it there. They're not going to naturally come to that conclusion, because I have a lot of people, friends and family, when they see me catch a fish, hold it in front of the camera and put it back into the water, they're like, well, what the heck, man? You just disposed of 3 pounds of good meat. I understand that argument. I really do. I get it. My whole point is I want to come back and catch him next year when he's 2 pounds bigger. Or if it's a nice fish, I want to put her back so her spawn can come back and create bass with her genomes, with her particular DNA, with her genetics, so we can raise more fish like her. That's the whole Lunkers program in Texas, if you've ever heard of that. If you haven't, go check it out. It's really interesting. So I'm conflicted. I've decided that I won't give the name of the lake that I'm at. And if you want the name of the lake that I'm at, you can send me a message and I'll probably give it to you. I'm not tight-lipped. I'm not closed-lipped about it. My goal is to spread information, is to give education, and to try to get people to fish the way that I like to fish. Because the way I like to fish makes sure that there are fish left in the rivers and the lakes around me for future generations. So I'm going to continue to educate with that in mind. On the flip side of that, do I ever catch fish to eat? Sometimes. So around our parts, trout and crappie and walleye. I'm not a big fish guy, but those 3 taste really good. But I think there's a limit into what I'm going to keep. I'm not going to keep little bitty guys, and I'm also not going to keep a giant. There's no reason to keep a trophy fish. Take a picture of it. You can get it mounted without the fish, and they don't taste good anyway. There's zero reason to catch a trophy fish of any species and put it in the boat and kill it. No reason for that. Take a picture, take the measurements, put it back in the water. Let her go back, let her breed for the next couple of years before she dies. There's no reason to keep a trophy fish. If you have a reason to keep a trophy fish, let me know, because I can't see in my mind a reason to do that. So yes, I will keep some fish to eat. However, they have to fall in a certain slot limit for me, because little bitty guys need to grow up, and the big old girls that breed every year and get big, I want their genetics in the water. I don't want the ones that don't make it. I want them. So whenever I want to eat trout, I go to a reservoir and I catch stocker trout, because those are the ones I want to eat. When I catch crappie and walleye, they have to be a certain size, not too small, not too big, definitely a Goldilocks type situation before I'm going to keep them. And when it comes to bass, because I'm a sport fisherman for bass, I don't keep them. Smallmouth, largemouth, it just doesn't matter. I'm not going to keep a bass. The only time that I kept a bass, the last time that I've kept a bass, I was fishing with a friend and I caught it and he wanted it. And I said, you know what, it's really not me. I really like to throw all of my fish back. And he said, well, it's my boat. I paid for the trip and I want to eat him. And I said, you know what? Okay, dude, sounds good. And I let him, because I'm not going to be a jerk about it. But when it comes to my decisions, I'm just not going to keep any bass for that particular reason. I hope you've enjoyed my little rant. Hopefully you have some insight. Give me some opinions. What should I tell the people in my life that say, don't disclose location, don't disclose lure, don't disclose condition, any of that, because you're giving them all of the information so they can go out there and catch them themselves. And I'm kind of the opinion that that's the whole point, to educate people so they can catch fish too. Anyway, thanks for putting up with my rant this evening. God bless you guys. Have a great, safe afternoon. We'll catch you next time.